Few personality archetypes captivate the modern psyche as powerfully as the Sigma male, the enigmatic lone wolf who moves in silence and operates beyond the usual constraints of societal validation. Unlike the alpha male who thrives on dominance, social visibility, and hierarchical control, or the beta male who seeks inclusion, direction, and approval of others, the Sigma male follows a path carved by his own values and instinct. He is a self-contained system, immune to peer pressure and external noise. His independence isn't performative, it is foundational. Built upon self-direction, internal validation, and unflinching personal responsibility, the Sigma's mindset reflects a rare kind of autonomy, one that resists the gravitational pull of conformity. Recognizing the Sigma male within oneself can be a moment of awakening, but equally powerful is recognizing the ways you diverge from this archetype. This self-inquiry demands more than admiration. It calls for confrontation. It's not just about identifying Sigma-like traits, but about measuring how far your behavior strays from the traits that define him. The following are 8 revealing signs that you may not truly embody the Sigma male's distinct psychological makeup. These signs often point toward a deeper dependence on external approval, a fragmented sense of discipline, or discomfort with solitude, all traits that stand in stark contrast to the Sigma's quiet resilience and self-sufficiency. 1. Your ambitions remain purely theoretical. The chasm between vision and execution. It's one thing to have dreams. It's another to breathe life into them. Anyone can romanticize a vision of success, craft eloquent goals, or imagine a future marked by achievement. The difference is that the Sigma male refuses to leave his ambitions in the realm of fantasy. His defining strength lies in execution, turning ethereal ideas into tangible action. He doesn't just speak about goals. He builds frameworks around them. He outlines steps, creates systems, sets measurable checkpoints, and advances with methodical precision. Where others may find comfort in perpetual planning, he feels only discomfort in inertia, mental entertainment versus tangible progress. If your goals exist primarily in the form of daydreams, vision boards, or late-night philosophizing, yet rarely translate into measurable output, you are likely indulging in mental entertainment rather than personal growth. This is a crucial dividing line. The Sigma male sees no virtue in endless deliberation. He understands that clarity is born through movement. For him, imperfect action outweighs perfect planning. He needs to see, feel, and measure momentum. Ideas that remain in the abstract are merely distractions from doing the work. The litmus test of Sigma drive. Ask yourself, when the weeks roll by, what remains behind you? Are there visible footprints? Drafts written, skills improved, cold email sent, systems built, or only more layers of speculation and talk? If your progress is defined more by imaginative discussions than by real-world traction, then your motivational framework remains aspirational. The Sigma male, by contrast, lives in execution. For him, building something, even flawed, is always more sacred than dreaming perfectly. His compass points toward doing, not dreaming. 2. Your decisions are fueled by external approval, the addiction to social validation. One of the most telling signs that you may not align with the Sigma male archetype is a reliance on external validation to shape your decisions, opinions, and self-worth. Ask yourself, do your views shift depending on who you're speaking to? Do you instinctively look for approval, likes, or praise before you feel satisfied with your work? If your drive depends on applause, your motivational engine is wired to a fragile external power source, one that fluctuates with other people's moods, opinions, or fleeting digital attention. This constant need for reassurance signals a deep psychological dependency, one rooted in social conformity rather than inner conviction. The Sigma's inner yardstick. The Sigma male operates differently. He may register recognition, but it doesn't define him. His compass is internal. He evaluates himself not based on popularity or applause, but on his alignment with personal principles and standards. He is the kind of man who will walk away from a project that garners praise if it doesn't meet the criteria he set for himself. To the Sigma, true accomplishment is deeply private and often invisible to others. This detachment from outside approval grants him a rare clarity, one that allows him to remain steady when others chase validation like oxygen. The illusion of autonomy. There's a dangerous illusion in modern life, the belief that one is independent while still craving applause. If your emotional energy only rises when someone's watching, or if your self-worth deflates when your efforts go unnoticed, your autonomy is performative. The need for constant reassurance, whether through social media metrics, romantic partners, or peer acknowledgement, reveals a gap in self-possession. A Sigma male doesn't need to be seen to feel fulfilled. His motivation comes from integrity, not attention. Until you can operate in total isolation with the same intensity and focus as you do in the spotlight, you haven't truly crossed the threshold into Sigma territory. 3. Your discipline crumbles under temptation. The reliance on external guardrails. True discipline is not built on hacks, tools, or environmental tricks. It is rooted in identity. If your commitments rely on alarms, productivity apps, motivational videos, or group accountability to stay afloat, then your willpower is conditional. It is fragile and reactive, rather than grounded and proactive. The Sigma male does not depend on a perfectly structured day to maintain his habits. Whether he is bored, stressed, or entirely alone, his actions remain consistent. Why? Because his discipline is internalized. It's not something he switches on when the stars align. It's baked into who he is. The two paths, comfort versus mastery. Imagine two distinct life paths. One is paved with instant pleasures, comfort food, mindless scrolling, binge watching, and spontaneous indulgence. The other is far less glamorous. It's made of gritty repetition, disciplined effort, uncomfortable silence, and a long road of mastery. The non-Sigma often intends to take the second path, but regularly detours back to the first when convenience calls. In contrast, the Sigma male may allow himself a moment of indulgence, but it is conscious and controlled, never an unconscious surrender to distraction. His default is progress, not escape. The pattern of self-sabotage. Lapses happen to everyone, including Sigmas. The difference lies not in the occasional fall, but in how one responds to friction. If your system breaks down consistently at the first sign of resistance, whether that's boredom, fatigue, or temptation, then your inner governance isn't yet forged in discipline. Sigma discipline is like tempered steel. It has been stress tested under pressure and doesn't crack when conditions are less than ideal. If your willpower routinely collapses under stress or craving, you haven't yet embodied the unshakable self-command that defines the Sigma path. 4. You flaunt status as a substitute for confidence. The camouflage of insecurity. In a world driven by image, it's easy to confuse confidence with presentation. Flashy cars, luxury logos, curated social media posts, and subtle name-dropping may appear signs of success, but often they are masks worn over insecurity. When your sense of self requires constant external affirmation through visible symbols of status, what you are showcasing is not power but a void. The Sigma male stands apart from this performance. He selects what he owns not to impress, but to serve. His possessions reflect his values: practicality, longevity, and function. He would rather use a worn, scratch tool that performs reliably than cradle a gleaming status symbol that serves no purpose beyond showmanship. The validation mining trap. A revealing test lies in your emotional reaction when your efforts to impress go unnoticed. If no one compliments your designer outfit, if your Instagram post doesn't get the traction you hope for, or if your humble brag lands in silence, what do you feel? Frustration? Resentment? A bruised ego? These emotions expose the truth. You weren't sharing out of joy or authenticity. You were mining for validation. And when validation doesn't come, the mask slips, revealing an internal dependence on external praise. The Sigma male is untouched by such needs. His sense of worth is immune to public attention. Prestige as a byproduct, not a goal. There's a crucial distinction the Sigma male makes that others often miss. Prestige is not something he chases. If it comes, it is earned, an organic byproduct of mastery, not a billboard for it. He doesn't care if others know he's skilled, wealthy, or accomplished. He only cares that he is. If your energy is directed more toward curating an image than developing competence, then your self-worth is still tethered to what others think, not who you truly are. The Sigma path is quiet, purposeful, and deeply internal, unconcerned with optics and fully invested in substance. 5. Blame is your default response to failure. The ego protection mindset. One of the most defining differences between a Sigma male and someone merely pretending to be self-directed lies in how they process failure. When a Sigma faces setbacks, his instinct is not to shield his ego, but to seek understanding. He dissects the failure with precision, asking tough questions. Where did I go wrong? What variables did I miss? What can I do differently? He's not obsessed with fault. He's obsessed with growth. In contrast, when blame is your automatic response, when your first reaction is to point outward to a lazy team, an unfair boss, the economy, or bad luck, you reveal a mindset more interested in ego preservation than personal evolution. The illusion of control. Blaming others may soothe the sting of failure in the moment, but it robs you of control. When everything is someone else's fault, you remove your ability to act, adapt, or grow. You become a passive observer in your own life, waiting for circumstances to change rather than changing your response to them. The Sigma male understands that responsibility is not a burden. It's a superpower. The more he owns, the more power he has to refine, adapt, and eventually dominate. By claiming his role in every outcome, he maintains control over his destiny. The cost of chronic blame shifting. There's a hidden price to chronic blame: stagnation. When you constantly absolve yourself of responsibility, you unknowingly trap yourself in a cycle of learned helplessness. Over time, this erodes your self-confidence and delays your progress. The Sigma male rejects this completely. He walks a path of radical ownership. If you consistently blame, deflect, or explain away your failures rather than internalizing the lesson and adjusting course, you remain a prisoner of external forces. That mindset is incompatible with the Sigma's doctrine of self-mastery, which demands that the first finger always points inward, not outward. 6. Solitude feels like punishment, not power. The Sigma's laboratory of thought. To the Sigma male, solitude is not loneliness, it's liberty. It is a deliberate retreat from the distractions of the world, a chosen environment in which clarity can be forged, skills can be honed, and thoughts can evolve without distortion. This is his laboratory of thought, his arena of self-alignment. Silence is not a void to be filled, but a tool to be wielded. In that stillness, the Sigma male examines his goals, refines his strategies, and strengthens his inner compass. Solitude is where his most potent growth occurs, precisely because no one else is there to interfere. The non-Sigma's dependence on external stimulation. For those who have not cultivated this depth of inner grounding, solitude can feel unbearable. An unplanned evening alone might bring about restlessness or anxiety, triggering compulsive behaviors, binge-watching TV, endless scrolling through social media, or desperately texting friends just to feel connected. This reaction reveals a hidden dependence, a mind so untrained in self-reflection that it clings to external stimulation for distraction. This isn't leisure, it's avoidance, and it is incompatible with the Sigma male's sovereign psychology, the uncomfortable mirror of solitude. What many fear in solitude isn't silence, it's confrontation. Time alone becomes a mirror, often reflecting unresolved insecurities, unhealed wounds, or an identity so entangled with social approval that it loses shape without it. The Sigma male doesn't fear this mirror. He looks directly into it. He uses it to strip away illusions, audit his motivations, and sharpen his focus. Solitude reveals who you are when no one's watching. And if that image is uncomfortable or unstable, it means your foundation is still externally shaped. The litmus test of self-sufficiency. True self-sufficiency begins with emotional sovereignty. If the idea of sitting in silence without entertainment, input, or validation feels threatening rather than empowering, your internal structure still leans on outer scaffolding. The Sigma male, by contrast, finds silence energizing. It recharges a sense of purpose and clarity. If being alone feels like punishment rather than power, then your psychological infrastructure is still far from the Sigma standard. 7. You see the world in rigid black and white terms. The Sigma's comfort with complexity. A powerful hallmark of the Sigma male is his ability to hold space for complexity. He doesn't seek the comfort of simplistic labels or binary judgments. Instead, he thrives in nuance, ambiguity, and contradiction. He understands that truth is often layered, that people are multidimensional, and that real insight lies between extremes. For the Sigma, maturity is marked by the ability to update his beliefs as he encounters new data. Rigidity, on the other hand, is a form of intellectual laziness, the trap of binary thinking. If your thinking tends to divide the world into clear-cut categories, success or failure, right or wrong, hero or villain, you are operating with a mindset that lacks depth. This form of black and white thinking might feel decisive, but it's shallow. It dismisses nuance in favor of convenience and certainty. It's easier to demonize a system than to understand its layers, easier to label someone entirely good or bad than to acknowledge their complexity. But such oversimplifications are the antithesis of the Sigma's perceptive, self-correcting lens. The cost of oversimplification. Rigid thinking may reduce cognitive effort, but it also restricts your growth. It leaves no room for evolution, and worse, it makes you brittle, unable to adapt when faced with contradictions or exceptions. The Sigma male sees strength in flexibility. His mind is a living organism, constantly evolving, absorbing, discarding, and refining information. He is not threatened by ambiguity. He is stimulated by it. It's where his most innovative thoughts emerge. Flexibility as a Sigma hallmark. If your worldview is immovable, clinging to the same dogmas, reacting defensively to new perspectives, or rejecting opposing viewpoints outright, then your mindset lacks a fluidity that defines Sigma intelligence. The Sigma male doesn't just think differently. He revises differently. He embraces the gray, knowing that wisdom is rarely black and white. His adaptability is not weakness, it's his edge. 8. You're obsessed with fitting the Sigma label, the paradox of forced identity. Ironically, the more you try to squeeze yourself into the Sigma mold, the farther you drift from its essence. A genuine Sigma male doesn't live by a checklist. His actions spring naturally from profound internal alignment. He doesn't pause to ask, does this look Sigma? He simply does what feels right, guided by his own principles rather than by the buzz of an online archetype. When your priority becomes matching someone else's definition rather than honoring your own instincts, you're playing a role instead of living authentically. The validation trap of online archetypes. In the age of social media, it's tempting to measure yourself against a curated set of Sigma traits. The solitary coffee shop shot, the stoic gaze, the philosophical tweet. But if you're constantly auditing your behavior, tweeting about solitude because it earns Sigma points, or framing every decision as proof of your independence, you're performing independence rather than embodying it. True self-reliance doesn't need an audience or a thumbs up. It doesn't grovel for retweets. It moves quietly without fanfare. The irony of seeking external confirmation. There's a delicious irony in chasing external recognition for your supposed nonchalance. By strive and check every box on someone else's Sigma blueprint, you end up depending on that very blueprint for your self-worth. A real Sigma male defines success on his own terms, even if those terms look messy or unorthodox to the outside world. He isn't constrained by labels or stereotypes. He writes his own rules and laughs off any attempt to categorize him. The ultimate Sigma test. Here's a final litmus test. Imagine the word Sigma disappearing from your vocabulary or your social feeds. Would you alter a single habit? If the absence of the label would not change your daily routines, your mindset, or the way you measure success, you are much closer to genuine independence than the vast majority who obsess over fitting in. Labels are fragile. The momentum of a life driven from within is not. Conclusion: beyond labels, toward authentic self-governance. The Sigma male archetype is not a costume to don or a hashtag to slap onto your profile. It's an invitation to cultivate genuine self-mastery. Examining these 8 signs is not about passing or failing a personality quiz. It's about shining a light on where you still lean on outside scaffolding and where you've already built unshakable internal supports. Use these insights as a roadmap for growth. Execute relentlessly. Transform your ideas from thoughts on a page into tangible results. Validate yourself. Learn to draw energy from your own standards rather than from applause. Strengthen discipline. Forge habits that persist even when motivation wanes. Detach from status. Pursue competence and purpose over prestige and image. Own your failures. Point your finger inward first. You'll always have more power there. Embrace solitude. Treat silence as a forge, not a prison. Think in nuance. Welcome complexity and revise your views as you learn. Define yourself. Live by your own convictions, not by any label. When your life is driven from within, the word Sigma becomes irrelevant. What remains is unmistakable momentum, steered by a compass only you control. Do you see yourself in these traits? Or do you recognize areas where you still rely on external scaffolding? This journey is ongoing, and every step toward internal alignment brings you closer to quiet power of true independence. Do these ideas resonate with you? If you found yourself nodding along or reflecting deeply on the traits and experiences we explored in this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts. The Sigma male mindset isn't often talked about openly, and your perspective, whether you identify with it personally or have encountered in others, adds valuable depth to the conversation. Drop a comment below and let me know which part hit home the most for you. Have you seen these traits in yourself or someone you know? Your insights help build a community where authenticity and growth are prioritized over popularity and performance. If you're drawn to this kind of introspective, no-nonsense content around Sigma males, psychological strength, emotional intelligence, and high-value living, there's more waiting for you. Explore the other videos on this channel for deeper dives, actual insights, and raw truths that cut through the noise. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay sharp, stay grounded, and stay unapologetically real. Until next time.